Check. How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So Heritage just had their feature auction end. Now it's a couple days long, but their big stuff is always in the front. And I figured, hey, let's go through it. Let's see some record-breaking prices. Let's see some ones that are a little too low, a little too high. Also, I have a personal story about a book at the end, which is kind of interesting to see how many hands it's jumped around and kind of the prices it's gone through. But yeah, so let's look at it. The first we got up is this Captain America Comics, #1, San Francisco pedigree. This is a 9.4, selling for over $3 million. I've had two Captain America Comics #1 in my life. I had I think it was a 2.5, and then I had like a junky, like 1.0. I got the 1.0 for $9 grand. I remember that. The 2.5 I got for $35,000. This is many, many years ago. Let's see how they've done. Okay, so let's get rid of these restored stuff. San Francisco. The last time this San Francisco pedigree sold, look at this. Under $1 million in 2019. Same book, San Francisco pedigree. I wonder if it's the highest grade. We can check here on the census to see if it's the highest grade. There's a 9.8 and 2 at a 9.4. So this is not even the highest grade Captain America Comics. This is tied for second highest grade, and there's a 9.8. Man, 9.8, Jesus. But yeah, the same book, San Francisco pedigree, sold, I guess almost 3 years ago now, for $900,000. Look at that return. 3x your money in 3 years. 3 years, you 3 times your money. That is a good, wow, that's crazy. Let's see what mine are worth now. Used to have. Okay, a 1.0 sold for $70,000. Yay. See, these good books you got to keep back. Oh, man, I wish I had these still. Because mine was, yeah, like a 1.0. I think I got it for $9 grand. I think I sold it for like 15 or something like that. Man, if I would have held it, this was probably like 6 years ago with this one. Wow, it could be worth 70. That means probably a 2.5. Let's see, a 4.0 sold for 180. Then a Promise Collection sold for 240. So that could have been worth like my 2.5, probably worth maybe 150, maybe 200,000 to the right person. Man, regrets. Okay, what do we got next? We got Fantastic Four #1, 9.2. Sold for $1.5 million. This might be the highest ever for a Fantastic Four #1. I know it's not even close to the highest grade because I know there's a 9.4. A 9.0 sold for, wow, a 9.0 sold for $250,000. A 9.2 back in 2013 sold for about $200,000. So, 10 years, you're looking at, 200,000. Now it's, worth about 8 times that in 10 years. That's a good return. Wow. All right. Oh, we got this cool Captain America, Jack Kirby from Tales of Suspense 59, splash page. I wonder if those lines, yeah, I think the lines are actually in the comic as well. Selling for $630,000. We got Frank Frazetta selling for $500,000. Now, Frank Frazetta is usually selling the millions. I think the reason why is because there's not much going on. Like, cool, you got a T-Rex and you got a, what's it called? I just remember Land Before Time. Sarah! Tyrannosaurus. No, that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. What the hell is it? Why am I blanking on his name? It's a Triceratops. That's what it is. But I don't think that's its real name. I don't know what its real name is. But anyways, these two animals didn't exist at the same time. Did you know, fun fact, you guys love my fun facts, that the time from the Brontosaurus to the T-Rex is actually a further distance in time from the T-Rex to us, or one of those. Maybe it's the long neck to us. I don't know. They are so far apart. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of years. Anyways, I think the reason like this doesn't sell for like millions of dollars like most Frank Frazettas do is because you got a small person and you got the T-Rex. It's cool and all, but they're not really doing much. And you got all this black blank space. So I think that's why. Still cool. All right, what do we got here? Journey of Mystery 83, 9.4. This is the first appearance of Thor, selling for $432,000. This is clearly not the highest grade. Let's see, not too long ago, so September, so about 9 months ago, A 9.4 sold for 319, so 320,000. So you're looking at about $100,000 return in about 9 months. That to me is pretty good return on your money. All right, we got Fantasy 15 7.5 selling for 300,000. We also got a 7.0 selling for 220. So dang, that's a big jump from 7 to 7.5. Let's see what we got here for a 7.75 area. All right, 7.0 sold for 252 a few months ago, and a 7.5 sold for 150 a year ago. So this 7.5 has doubled in value in 1 year. 1 year. But this 7.0 selling for 222, one sold for 250 before. To me, the 7.0 was a good deal. That was a good deal. You could probably turn around and sell this in a year from now for 300,000. Just saying. So we got this John Romita Sr., just a random splash page, not even splash page. Just got some panels of Spider-Man, not really doing much, selling for $250,000. There was someone posted on Instagram an old ad from the mid-late 80s, and it was someone trying to sell original art, and they had pretty much all the pages, they didn't have the covers, to Spider-Man 39, 40, 41, and a bunch of other random ones, selling it for like $80 or $100 a piece. If you had that now, each one of those pages are easily worth, you know, $250,000. If it's a good page or a splash page, you're looking at $500,000. You could have gotten for a couple $100. Crazy. My dad, I remember he told me a story. He said no one wanted art back in the day. He said he went over to, it was at the Comic-Con. I think this might have been late 80s, early 90s. And he went, like a lot of times you would just go to people's hotel rooms and they would have like their collections there that they want to sell or whatever like that. And that's how you meet. And this guy had like this massive comic collection, and he went to all the dealers, and they're like, okay, first come, first serve. So my dad gets there, and he's like towards the back of the line. And when he goes through, because this guy had like everything, he goes through, all that was really left was original art because no one wanted it. And he's talking like old Tales of Suspense, even Jack Kirby. He's like, yeah, some people wanted the Jack Kirby art, but it's like, if you got anyone else like a John Romita or like, you know, things you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And all this art, and my dad's like, nah. I think my dad said it was some old Don Heck from Old Tales of Suspense. Like, I think he might have said from Tales of Suspense 39, maybe. But he's like, I passed on all that. And he's like, it was so cheap. And I was like, no one wants it. It would take forever to sell. Oh my gosh, millions of dollars is gone. Anyways, here we got a Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns #3 from '86. Personally, not a fan of this cover. Like, it's cool and all, but it's not much going on. Just a big bat symbol with a tiny Robin. $250,000. We got this Dave Cockrum, X-Men 106, 144,000. To me, this seems low. See what we got at some. See, we got this one right here. You know, this one we got 107 selling for earlier this year for 360,000. This is 102 selling for 130, but that was in 2018. I mean, we got this Dave Cockrum here of the Hulk selling for 108, but yeah, like 360. Okay, and this is personally a kind of cooler cover. Yeah, it's all these lines going on, so you can't really see, but it seems low to me. All right, we got a Hulk 181, 9.8. Let's see how these doing. Almost $100,000. I can't even tell off the top of my head if it's high or low. That is a record. Is it a record? Let's see. Let's break these down a little more. Yep, it is a record price. Most ones ever sold was $87,000. So we got a world record for. It's gonna break 100,000. Man, I'm just thinking about this Hulk 181 that I had signed by Stan Lee, John Romita, and Herb Trimpe. Triple signature, gold label. I bought it for $13,000 off a Comic Link. It sat for 2 years. I priced it at 30,000, dropped it down to 25,000, dropped it down to 20,000, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And me and my brother talking about it, and this has been, we had it sit for 2 years, maybe even 3 years, and then finally, like, we needed money, so we're like, oh, why don't we just put it in Comic Link again? We put it in Comic Link, and someone didn't want it to go auction, and they offered us like 27 or 30,000 for it, and I was like, geez, we had it at 20 on eBay, and no one made an offer, and so of course we sold it. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. If we would have held that triple signature with Stan Lee on it as well, 150,000. Ugh. That's why we try to not sell big stuff. Like, I'd rather sell like whole quantity ones that are like a 6.0 level all day long, right? But you get one of those like one of a kind, super rare stuff, you don't sell it. You just keep it back, hold on to it. I mean, we weren't at a position where we could hold back those big keys. We had the single highest grade of Showcase 22, first Silver Age Green Lantern, a 9.2, and we sold it for like 50,000. A few years later, like probably 3 or 4 years later, it sold Reese, Greg Reese, is that his name? I don't know, Reese. He had it, he paid like 100 or 150 for it, and then he sold it on Heritage, and went for like, I don't know, like 200 or something like that. Don't sell the big stuff. Never sell it. Just sell the lower level stuff all day long. All right, we got a Batman #1. Another thorn in my side. This was a 1/8. I had a 3.5 sold for $55,000. What is a 1/8 going for these days other than that one? We got a Promise Collection for selling for $240, another one selling for $200, a 2.5 selling for $2. So judging by that, my 3.5 would probably be around 400,000 ish. Ugh. Shoulda, hold on. We should have sold, this all the lower level stuff all day long and just kept those back. Just like buried them and then like forgot about them. All right, we got this Jim Lee Wolverine number 24 original art, pretty cool, 144,000. Hulk #1 in a 6.5. See, sell these books. Don't sell those top grades or they're super rare, like old Golden Age stuff like that. Well, 6.5 Hulk is kind of rare, not super rare though. All right, what do we got? 6.5. We got a 7.5 selling for 100,000. A 7.0 selling for 75. A 6.5 selling for 72 a month ago. So this was, with buyer's premium. Why am I always? Oh, that's current bid. This one is not sold yet. Why am I looking at? I lied to you guys. All right, that was weird how that snuck in there. Maybe I was like the Hulk and I was like subconsciously, let's click it. All right, so this is an ash can. For those who don't know what an ash can is, so it's a Superman comic. So what they did with this is Action Comics, I believe, number 7. The cover is 7. So they took like a black and white, like Xerox copy, whatever, put it in. They put some random, let's see what they, cover reprints from Action 7 predates Superman 1, contains the first 7 pages of Action 8. So they'll take some pages, a cover together, because they send this off to the copyright, federal whatever thing, so they can get the copyright to Superman comics. And I believe Captain Marvel tried that with Flash. So they tried to get copyright Flash comics, but DC had already sent theirs to be copyrighted. So they didn't get Flash comics. I think they tried Thunder comics. They didn't get that one either. And then they sent one for Wiz comics. That's how they got Wiz comics. So publishers would send out an ash can. That's what they call it. It's just whatever, just so they can copyright the title. No one else can use the title of Superman comics. And they even wrote a little 10 cents in there. So these are extremely rare because it's not like they make a bunch of them. They make like a handful, like a few. Selling for, 300,000. First Ghost Rider in a 9.6. Oh, still bids to go on that one. All right, here we go. Turtles #1, 9.6, $69,000. What do we got here? 72. One sold for 72. One sold for 88, signed by Eastman and Laird, but it's the blue label because they signed a bunch of comic copies back in the day. We have a record of 78,001 selling recently for 66, so not that bad. My dad, he had the original Turtles comic graded 9.8. It was the comic, so Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, when they went to make the Turtles, they got a loan from Eastman's uncle, I believe, for I don't know, like $1,000 or something like that. So it came with the original check, and this was the original copy that they gave their uncle. He kept it in pristine condition, and my dad had the original check, the uncle's original copy, graded 9.8. I think it was in like a frame with the check and everything like that, and he sold for like $13,000. All right, we got a Daredevil 9.4, number 1 sign, still up for auction. This cover is cool. I had this trade paperback, so I had this this cover right here. It was for a trade paperback. 50, still up for bid. Why am I looking at these? Here we go. Detective number 1. I've never had this before. 108,000. Super rare and old. Cool cover though. All right, we got an X-Men 94 9.8. What's the record? I don't think it hit a record, did it? Record is 72,000, which sold in December, so not too long ago. This one's selling for 66, so not a record, but still pretty high. All right, giant size. This is low. Giant size X-Men number 1. That's weird. An X-Men 94 sold for more than giant size. Giant size is the first new X-Men and the second Wolverine. All right, a 9.8. Recent sale of 55,000, but obviously a peak of 72,000. This one's selling for 46. Good deal. There's also another one up in auction. I believe it's at 35,000 currently. Ends tomorrow. Here it is right here. Another 9.8. White page as well at 35,000, which would be 42 with buyer's premium. It'll probably go cheap as well, I would imagine. So if you want a cheap one, I would jump on that. This is what I never really seen before. All Stories from 1912. First appearance of Tarzan. There he is. The Romance of the Jungle. Ooh, very cool. Selling for almost 50,000 for this trash copy. This is cool. This is the original art to Dazzler number 1. Selling for 55,000. I always love this cover. Selling for 31,000. 9.6. This. Remember how the other one sold for like, what was it, $250,000 or something? This is just a page from it with Superman, Captain America doing stuff. 48,000 just for a page with Jack Kirby. All right, so this is the thing I promised you at the end. Funny story, interesting story, whatever you want to call it. So here it is. This has the wrong back cover, which is weird to me, but this doesn't look like mine. So I had one that was the same. It was the right front cover, wrong back cover, and I can't remember. It was graded like a 1.0 or something. I don't know how. It was much better looking than this. Anyways, this sells for $19,000 just recently. So if we look here, right here, this one, this 83.55, the reason I know, this was mine, selling for 83.55. But I bought this and sold this, same one right here, for 12 or 13,000. I can't remember. About a year, 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Anyways, it came back up in auction. The reason why I remember this is because I bid on this to get it back. I didn't have enough money to bid higher, but I was the underbidder, and it went for 83.55. And I was like, well, dang, I sold it for like 12 or 13. I can't remember. And maybe it's 11,000. I don't know. But now it's back up in auction. Whoever bought it probably needed money, and then sold it December. Obviously, I didn't have the money to go any higher. And it sold for 83.55. It's literally nicer than this, but the exact same thing. Has the wrong back cover, just like this does. This one sold for 19,000. You could have literally bought this and doubled your money. Now, yes, it's the Promise collection. Who cares? I mean, it's nice that, like, it's nice when these collections come up, but it's like the Mile High. People will pay, like, if a 9.4 goes for 10 grand, people will pay like 20 or 30 grand for the Mile High version. It's like, really? Like, you're going to pay 2 to 3? I get it if it's rare and it's like, oh, this is the only one I can get, right? And so you got to pay whatever it is. But to pay for a collection. There's so many different collections out there, like pedigrees. And like Heritage will get them in, or Comic Link or Comic Connect, and they hype the crap out of them to make it seem like it's more special. CGC's in on it to give this little pedigree thing. And I'm like, I guess. I don't know. I don't think a slight boost? Sure. Double? No. No. And this is a 0.5, and this is a 1.0. It's not double. Anyways, I hope you like this, going through all this stuff. Have a great night.